I had some time in my hands, and I'm not one to sit on my hands. And I started thinking, wow, I have a perfect life. I have a beautiful wife I'm madly in love with, this crazy French Moroccan woman. And I have two great kids, humble and successful. And I have five grandchildren. And started thinking, this is like my 20s when I had no responsibility. I describe it, in the 20s, you're preparing for the whole catastrophe, as Zorba the Greek called it, which is the mother-in-law, the wife, the mortgage, the house, the kids, and then you give up all your freedom for all that responsibility. Then in your 70s, you bury your parents with dignity, you raise your kids to be self-reliant, and it's just like your 20s. And except instead of having a $10,000 American Express credit card bill, you have some money in the bank. So I had it all. But then I started thinking, what is the one thing I need to worry about? What's the whole catastrophe when you're in your 70s? Well, it's the Grim Reaper knocking on your door. And so I decided to really look into how I could keep this thing going longer, this wonderful life. And, life's not perfect. Not everything I have in life is perfect, but I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate. So I started looking into longevity. I'd heard things about it. It was normally, James, not the kind of stuff I would read. But I started reading about it, and I noticed there was a gap in all this longevity hysteria. You had the medical establishment on one side, kind of elitist, kind of
Mm.
collectively with bad bedside manners, having their own little conferences and their own little media B2B. And the other end, you had all these biohackers, and amidst that crowd, there's some charlatans and weirdos, a lot like real estate in a way. And
Mm.
what we saw is no middle lane, no credible independent media company that through events and newsletters and news was delivering credible independent news to sort out all the things that are going on out there. So built a
Mhm.
media company, as I've done many times, and around a subject that I personally was really, I was motivated by. So it's turned out to be quite an adventure. And the need is even more dramatic because you have, kind of like in real estate, you have celebrity longevity people, like celebrity chefs, celebrity
Mm.
realtors. You have celebrity PhDs from Harvard, and then you have a lot of conflicts of interest. People that
Mm.
don't disclose that they're selling other products, and they don't disclose the relationships they have. And then you have this persistent problem of what I call the sick care industry, which is the traditional medical field over here that are kind of hard to get access to and don't give you a lot of great advice. And then you got all this innovation, and like Inman, we started reporting on that innovation. It's such a positive opportunity for people to get well, take care of themselves, live longer, and probably most importantly, be healthier.
I love it. I really love it. And honestly, we are in a time where we should be taking special care of ourselves, especially when there's just so much madness going on in the world, quite frankly. And I am seeing people move into this space. And as you mentioned, celebrities are moving into the space. But I think it's the raw truth that if you're really worrying about actual health and not celebrity, you can make huge moves in the space. And you guys are coming to Palm Beach at the end of March.
That's correct.
Can you tell us about the event and how you're bringing together
Sure.
some of the biggest names in health and wellness and longevity? Because I've heard it's going to be a pretty extraordinary event.
Yeah, last year, year ago, just about now, James, we had an event in West Palm, hugely successful, sold out very quickly.
Mm.
Had some big names. People left feeling really good about themselves. It was a great crowd. We thought maybe 80-year-olds in wheelchairs. We didn't know what to expect, but in fact, the average age was more like 55, 60. People who had seen maybe health problems with their parents, they were already kind of tuned into health. They showed up. It was tended to be a healthy looking crowd, a positive crowd, a little easier to handle than some of the real estate crowds I've been before. I love that community, but it's just a different world. And they left loving the event we put together. And I have a great team of people. My partner in this is someone I brought over from Inman, Katie Godot, who is just amazing at producing high quality production events. I think that surprised people to go to some event that was so well organized and orchestrated. And I was there like I'm in real estate. I was there for the advocate of the people that were, as I say, the woman that came from Omaha and sitting in a plastic chair all day. And they like that tone. They like the everyday man kind of approach we took. But high quality speakers, great engagement, journalists asking tough questions, helping people sort it out. But after that success, we said, we got to do this again. So we're doing it again. And we're doing it with we're testing something, a smaller, more intimate crowd. What we found last time is there was this amazing learning experience from peers, and they call it peer-to-peer learning is the fancy name. But that was really going on, and people were making connections, and those connections, like at Inman, can be lifelong relationships, not only business but personal and other. And so we decided to experiment a little higher price point, but the same objective, the same mission, educating people on this. And if we're successful here, we're going to take it around the country. And so it's the 28th, 29th, starts at 4 o'clock on Friday the 29th, 28th, and goes all day Saturday. We have it on the weekends because it's for the public. And we just have a great program plan, doing all kinds of creative, fun things mixed with the more serious. And we have, we take it really seriously. Like we have really qualified people on stage. No, no scammers or schemers. And we got, we do have a couple celebrities. We have Mark Hyman, who's quite famous. And we have Michael Greger, who on the diet front is quite famous, and several others like that. And then just really established people talking about, what we call the pillars of health, which is, movement. It's, what I call the freebies. Like, if you move a lot, you're going to get healthier. If you socialize a lot, you're going to get healthier.
Mhm.
If you, eat right, all of the things and then on top of that, all the science and the innovation.
I love it. You made a really interesting point about your first event. You expected 80-year-olds and 90-year-olds, and you got an average age of 55. I think when I think of health, I immediately think that if I'm unhealthy, I need to go and get help. But actually, when you're at your healthiest is when you really need help to maintain your health and
Yep.
wellness. So don't wait until you're sick to get healthy.
No.
Maintain the health and wellness that you're given. And
James, I'm a living example of that. I was a journalist. I was a nerd. I didn't work out. I didn't jog. I didn't eat right. I drank with my journalist friends in dive bars, and I knew all about this stuff. I wasn't stupid, but I didn't take care of myself, and so I had to pay the price. And it's hard to self-correct later in life. It's better to prepare yourself to live longer when you're younger. So I think that's why younger people are coming. I mean, I've extended my biological life, I'm told, by the actions I've taken the last couple of years, but it's a lot better to start when you're younger.
100%. And I read a lot, and there's no real conflicting health advice, or there's no shortage of advice that's out there, right? But you
Absolutely.
can also overload yourself with
Yep.
information. I guess my question to you is, how do you see live long media becoming a trusted source in this huge industry, similar to what I guess you built with Inman News?
Yeah, it's really everything I've done. I was in the ebook business, and there we made sure that our collection of books were credible. I was part of the group that founded Eater, and it was
Mm,
credible, credible dining recommendations for people where to go eat. And I was in the video production company. We hired qualified video companies. Real estate, it was always independent. I had so many opportunities, James, to sell the stage, as we say, where speakers say,
yeah.
"We'll pay you." No, we said no. Our reporters can't buy stock in Zillow. We have integrity. It's kind of old school journalism, and we applied that. And we found the best way to build an audience is through that credibility, because there's a lot of confusing media now and people don't know where to go. And, as I said, conflicts aren't disclosed. And so we are in this for the long haul. We're not like a quick, make it, sell it, flip it. It takes a while to build audience. But, in less than a year, we have 100,000 subscribers to our newsletter with the goal of
Wow.
getting to a million very shortly. And we're on our way. And it tells
Wow.
you, and a very high open rate and a high click through rate. And that's a function of people wanting this because they are confused. They don't know who to believe. And that's where, we fill a gap. And the other thing is, this is an industry like real estate, James, that's being disrupted. And we want to be part of that disruption because clearly we need to democratize this information. And we also need to help change the existing kind of burdensome infrastructure of the insurance industry. And that's not a negative, that's a positive. We need to clean up the medical establishment.